TV off real quick. Hold on.
Hi, Chase. How you doing?
How you doing? You right?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yes.
Yes.
You got dirty, you got no socks on? Feet about to be stinking?
It's all right.
No, you good. I think I got some new socks in the car. You want them? Damn, I ain't got my car still.
And this how we took our family pictures, because you forgot your shoes. All right. Well, good to see you again.
It's good to see you too.
Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
How you doing?
Good.
Oh,
All right, you can sit either right there. You
know.
can sit anywhere over here, so it's up to you. Erica,
Where I'm
that's
sitting?
your seat right there.
Right here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Make sure I got
Alright.
your camera on. Hey, TT, good afternoon.
Here, Breezy. Breathe, Anna.
You want to keep the drink?
Where am I put it?
You sit up here next to this.
Right here?
No. Sit my chair right there, bro. Look, right chair.
Okay. Let's see. I don't like this. Just you could just put it up. I don't think-
What about this?
How everybody doing out there? I was just.
This is cool.
Let's see.
That's better.
That's better.
Alright, cool.
Okay.
Let me see if we can put this in.
Everything good? Set this up.
Alright.
How y'all day been today?
Good, good. This actually is the start of our day.
Oh, it's the start of your
And
day.
then we're gonna go paint the town red. Or bad.
What's the temperature like in here? Is it too hot, too
No,
cold?
it's perfect.
It's perfect, okay, cool.
Good.
Okay. You good. So make sure you get it on both of us cheese. And I'll just get a straight angle. I'll just get a straight angle of her.
I'm gonna need you to put that slimming filter on. No, I'm just playing. He said,
I don't know.
wait a minute.
I don't know what the.
No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. I'm good.
Yeah, people can see you. Yeah, we live on TikTok. Alright, you can place this on you, please. Thank
Can
you.
y'all hear me?
All right, mic check 1 2 1 2. Can y'all hear me, TT? Position your camera like more so towards our side, cheese. And I'm gonna use mine just to get a direct angle of her. So okay, it look good right there to me. Can y'all hear me on here, TT? Give me a thumbs up if my connection good.
Yeah, just busy, right? Yeah, I'm glad I could make time to do this. Oh, no problem.
Before I sit down, I need to know if my volume working, y'all. Okay, so we good. I wonder why did that come on? That was a line. So let me do this just to be on the safe side. Cause I ain't like that.
Yeah, it is crazy because we went to one and then we kept coming, and this one right there, whatever road that was. I'm like, there's a lot of Bixby's.
Yeah.
That's all they got out here.
The only ones I knew about was in Livonia. That way, you know.
How was that? Like
Plymouth and Middle Belt area.
Okay.
Yeah, right by that. I think it's
Walmart over there.
all of that. Yeah. Cause you know I work out there, even though I'm east side, I work out there. You know where you work.
Oh, you from the east side?
You see, oh yeah.
Okay, I'm from the west. I be over there. I know the whole west
Oh,
side.
okay, I
I'm
ain't
still
gonna hold
making
that
my way
against
over
you. I'll still be cool. No, I'm just-
there.
it's funny though because when I first started working out here, you know I do outreach work. So I'm chilling with the people in the neighborhood, just getting them, and they was like, "You gotta be from the east side." I'm like, "What?"
Wow, you got a different vibe.
It different vibe, I guess. It was
It's a different
interesting.
vibe.
I was like, "Wow, yeah."
It was crazy. A lot of west side people ain't even know they way on the east side.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know my way on the way. I mean, I had to get savvy because again, that's where I work. But now, like a lot of my business just is that way. It just makes sense, you know.
Flourish. You gotta move around and get on the other side of town now.
Yeah.
And got business over there. Surgery.
How long ago?
It's been about a year, but it be hurting
Yeah.
still.
Yeah. I got a ride through my bone from here to here. I broke my leg 2 years ago. Yeah, but you know, God is so good. I'm like the bionic woman. I'm rebuilt. You know what I'm saying?
I had to go through that. It's a screw in my foot.
Okay, you still gotta go. It still go. Yeah. It's okay though.
Do it ever be hurting like when it rains?
It does. I don't focus on the pain, but I'm not gonna say it doesn't.
Right.
It does. I just try to refocus, you know, my mind because me being in recovery, like I'm not trying to take no hardcore medication.
Right.
You know, so I just want to keep. I know mind and body has so much to do with each other. Right. Because when I had my surgery, because of my history, they sent me home with 5 oxygen. I'm like, okay, but it is what it is, you know. Nowadays they ain't gonna prescribe.
This was like my foot surgery probably was like about a year and a half, almost 2.
Okay.
I had to go through 2 surgeries.
All right, y'all ready?
Yes.
All right, let's get it. Make sure this camera's gonna be good. All right, that's great. Matter of fact, let me do one more thing. Kill this natural light. And we can crank it up.
Yeah, you gotta be careful because I'm a whole light. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, let your light shine. Your light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. No. All right, y'all. Welcome to the second episode of the Inspire Purpose Podcast. I'm your host, Chauncey. My co-host, my man, Blue Cheese.
Right.
Today we got a special guest. She's a life coach, recovery coach. I will let her do her own introduction.
Hi, I am Erica Van Alstyne, certified peer recovery mentor, which is a McBath certified recovery coach. And I've been doing this work for about 5 years. I have going on 8 years clean from drugs and alcohol. I'm also a survivor of sex trafficking, which is where, you know, the drug usage started. So I'm sure this time we'll get more in depth. I'm gonna leave the introduction at that.
Okay. All right. So, tell us a bit about your upbringing and before you started using drugs. Like, what led you to that?
Oh man, I had an amazing childhood. I did. My mother is just like the best, and my father is a whole intellectual, and I'm absolutely a daddy's girl, you know. And but they're human, and they had a lot of things going on between them that I really didn't know or understand. But when my brother went off to college, it was just me, and it seemed like I was always getting I felt like I had to be their problem solver, right?
Okay.
So of course, for a young child, that caused anxiety. I was a very free spirit. I had my ribbons and my tutus, and I run through the house, and everything was just like a fairy tale for me, you know, until I was told at an early age, like, you know, asked, what do you want to be? I'm like, I want to be a princess. It was like, ain't no princess in South of 7 Mile, you know. So I was like, okay, all right, maybe I'll be like a nurse or something. No. But you know my imagination was struck down at an early age, and that caused me to see reality. It was very clear, and even the neighborhood that I grew up in, I didn't fit, right? I wasn't ghetto. I knew how to speak. I always got good grades. I'm educated. Plus, like I said, my father's a historian. He lectures on African history, Egyptology. So I've always had knowledge, right? But living off 7 Mile, it's like I didn't fit in, so I got made fun of, whatever. And I just conformed to my environment, you know what I'm saying? And what happened, I started to run away. And I'm going to tell you, it's like, I could get real long winded because when I explain one thing, it's almost like I got to explain another. But now know that I started dealing with mental health issues, right?
Okay.
I'm not gonna get too deep into spiritual. However, some people looked at it as clinical. Some people looked at it as spiritual. Let's pray it out of her, and all of that. And I became confused. I was literally confused, and I didn't understand why I was feeling the way I was feeling. For example, and this might explain like processes for some people. I can remember getting overwhelmed emotionally for no reason. Like I said, I always had good food, always had clothes that other people didn't have, like I always had. So why am I sad? I'm in this classroom with people that's being touched in foster care, kids that only eat at school. So why am I crying? So I didn't understand. I didn't think that I could verbalize that. So, of course, when you start crying for no reason, what do people say? What's wrong? How do I explain that? I couldn't, so I would lie. Right? And one time I even killed off my grandma. I was like, well, my grandma died. Not knowing that the teacher knew my mom. So now I'm getting in trouble because why you killing off your grandma? And I can't explain to my mom. So now I'm labeled a liar.
Okay.
Now I'm labeled a liar, right? And once you get labeled, as you know, it's one of those things. So now I'm labeled as a liar. Then comes the trying to get acceptance because, adolescents now like boys. And I won't even get... I don't know how...
Yeah, we want you to go in depth and be as open and transparent as
Okay,
you can.
because my daughter here, but she know the story, but I want to make sure that it's appropriate for your audience. So, liking boys and everything and wanting love genuinely because I saw my mother and my father being married, my great aunt, my great uncle. Like, I saw real love. I saw that and I genuinely wanted that, right? So I didn't understand that a 13-year-old boy couldn't get that to me, right? A 13-year-old boy only had one thing on his mind, but I didn't know that. So now I'm with my boyfriend, right? And why can't I go across the line with that?
But prior to that, like, did your parents ever explain like stuff to you about boys, like at the time that you reached puberty, or you kind of went into it blindly?
So when I reached puberty, my mom gave me a book. It was called A Woman's Almanac, and the book pretty much just told you everything about your body, everything about what you'll be experiencing, everything. My mom she's a very good mom, but she's extremely old school. You know what I mean? It's not a question of, if you have sex, do not have sex, period, right? It wasn't no in between. And I didn't feel, I now know that I I could have went to her, but I didn't feel at the time like I could just go to her, so yeah, I was given a book pretty much, and like friends and stuff like that is where I learned, you know what I'm saying, different things from. But like I was saying, when I had, my initial boyfriend, and then I crossed the line that way, but now he don't want to be with me. So it's like, okay, and then you look and it's like, okay, I got this new boy, and now I got a whole new label, right? Without my permission, because like I wasn't trying to be that HOE. You know what I'm saying? That's not what I was trying to be. That wasn't goals. I was looking for love, not understanding that that's not how you go about it. So again, I'm saying all these different things, plus me dealing with what I now know, I'm very empathic. And like, that's why I was feeling emotional and stuff. It was not me, it was the energies I was around. Nobody explained that to me then though, right? So I'm operating as if there's demonic forces in me or whatever. Like, I'm just this cursed individual. So when you have in your mind that you're a cursed individual, you behave as such, right? So now I started running away. And at first it was just like a couple of days at a time, or, and then the last time I ran away, I ran into something they tell you, keep running away, you go run into something that you're not ready for. And that's exactly what happened.
So for the viewers who don't understand what empathic is. Can you like give them a definition in the sense that they can understand it? And at what age did you run away?
It was around 13 when I started, just to answer that question. And as far as empathic, the best way I can explain it is me being an empathic person, I am truly sensitive to other people's energy, right? So, like, I can feel the energy in this room now. It's an amazing energy, so I'm comfortable, okay? Because if I wasn't there, if I had a negative reaction, you would see me shaking right now a little bit, or being very fidgety, right? So, and this is something good to know, not just how we interact with people and how people are responding to us, but also being in tune with being responding to yourself and how you feel. You know, if you feel nervous, if you feel like you need to leave, then sometimes you might have to say, hey, appreciate being here, but I really have to leave right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to have the courage to say that, because it can affect you. It can affect you deeply if you are empathic. So that's pretty much what an empath is. I'm very sensitive to energies.
Yeah, I did, but yeah,
we all got
appreciate
educated.
it. Yeah.
Took a jewel off you.
So okay, so you say you started running away at 13, and you say the last time you ran away, you ran into something that you didn't think you would run into, and what was that exactly?
So it was, and I'm gonna be just a tad bit careful about this, but it was a grown man. And you know, it started off, it was all parties. It was I received what I thought that I had been looking for all this time, right? Which I guess is why I was always attracted to older men, because I wanted something at that young age that a 13, 14-year-old boy just couldn't give me, you know, as I had experienced, right? So here it is, this grown man, have his own car, have his own house, have his own everything. It was so easy, because see, before when I ran away, I used to sleep at cemeteries. You know, my friends, their families weren't letting me stay there, so I would sleep in cemeteries. I would be on the street, but this time it was more comfortable. I had a place. You know, there was like no incentive for me to go home, you know. And yeah, he wined and dined me. You know, he reaffirmed that I was the princess, right? You know, and I think part of that was, and I know at an early age, like oversharing, like what I wanted, what I desired, and he literally became that, right? So in my eyes, it was like a whole fairy tale Cinderella story, right? He's gonna rescue me, and I won't go into too much detail, but I will say that turned left real quick. Right, because he built my trust. I was, in essence, I now know, I'm speaking from a place of healing now, but I now know that he groomed me, you know. So for those of y'all that are interested in that, like, you know, to look up what grooming is, you know, that's what it was. And eventually it went to, you know, do this, do that with a friend and everything. It really spiraled out of control, and that's where like drugs were introduced, right? Because initially I was just smoking marijuana and drinking every now and then. But when you go through certain things, that's just stopped being enough. It stopped being enough, you know. So that's initially where the addiction started. Which, so my story is, I'm not trafficked, like it's not the movie Taken, right? I wasn't in chains. Right. It wasn't no men passing me through back and forth. You know what I'm saying? Because when people think of trafficking, they want to go to the worst possible scenario.
Right. It sounds bad, because it
is.
It's forceful,
because
it
is some
forceful type of stuff.
And it is some deep levels. Don't get me wrong, you know. But all I can do is speak on my experience. Right. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, it was more, I wasn't in physical chains, I was in mental chains, right? When you know, all through history, they've had times, even in slavery, you know what I'm saying? It's you get very specific what you take away from people, what you allow them to have, what you introduce them to. It can really, really alter their state of mind, right? And the longer that you deal with that, the more it's imprinted. It's like you rewiring your brain. You see what I'm saying? So now where people say, but you could have left. See, that's why I was never taken like really serious. Like when he went to prison, I wasn't on the case. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, and then, I got pregnant by him for my son, so, and he went to prison the year my son was born.
Okay.
So it was a lot, and through that process I built so many resentments. First of all, resentments toward, and no offense to any Caucasian women, I'm just telling my story, but I have resentments toward white women. Because he didn't go to jail for none of us. He went to jail, now he messed with 2 white girls, now all of a sudden he a problem. But he wasn't a problem, so now I got resentments on them. Then, from prison, he tried to make trouble because I was ignoring him with my son. And he had claimed I'm not the dad. I don't know if y'all know how that go, right? Especially in prison. Once you do that, you got to go through this whole process, DNA test on my side, on his side. And then I went to the friend of the court, and I'll never forget the referee made a statement because, see, he was only looking what was put down on paper, right? And he made a statement because I was young, I was silly, whatever. Probably rude, but he made a statement that it's young girls like me that have a lot of, like, our black men in jail, right? And that right there is just, oh man, I talked about everybody in his family starting with his OG, but I was just like, so now I got resentments toward the law, right? Then come to find out, it was 2 officers in 1999 indicted for human trafficking, but they never got convicted or anything. So now, like, to know that the police was involved, because what they was doing was they was taking, like, pretty girls that was on the missing persons list and making it look like they was found, and then they was going out finding them, but that was again, that was never obviously proven because they never got acquitted. So it's things like that, like, I'm just building resentments all over the place, and that mixed with the drugs that was introduced, mixed with the trauma, it was just a storm, a whole tornado within. You know what I'm saying? So
do you feel like the drug use helped you cope with the things that you was going with at that point in time?
150%.
And so was that like a mechanism to cope with it, or was you ever scared or afraid to try different drugs, or did it just come like, hey, I don't care? Okay.
Never, because again, first of all, one thing I know about me, I'm too smart for my own good, right? I research everything, always have, and I have drug addicts in my family that not thrive, but again, I'm speaking from my point of view, young, right. So I looked at it like, okay, this is just a tool that I'm using to get through what I'm going through, and then I can just stop when I'm ready. Yeah.
But that didn't happen.
Yeah, which is like, how did that work out? It didn't.
Right.
It didn't because, so just being transparent, crack and heroin was my drug of choice. It went hand in hand. And cocaine base is a mental addiction. No withdrawals, it's all mental. Because, see, we got a saying in NA, one is too many, 1,000 never enough, right? Once you do that first one, you're not going to stop until you broke or your heart is damn near about to explode. Because that's your brain is telling your brain another, right? That's why I feel sorry for people that got money like that got a crack addiction, like, you go kill yourself. As we've seen. And it, won't say no names, but y'all know, but you know what I'm saying? Yeah, for sure. And then the heroin, now that's the kick, that's the physical dependence, right? Yes. See, it's all good and fine when you're doing it every day, even if you just do a little bit. But try stopping. That first day, you're going to feel a little uncomfortable. That second day, you going to be like, oh man, I probably got the flu. That third day, your stomach going to turn, you're going to be in a fetal position. And it's either one or two options. Go get another one by any means necessary, or in your mind, die. You know what I mean? Really the option I would give people now is go get another one or go to treatment. Right. But I'm speaking from an addict mind. Sure. You know what I'm saying? Treatment wasn't an option.
Thinking out there that's out there that's dependent on that.
And then people would say, like, that was before Suboxone really became popular. They was like, well, get on methadone. Are you serious? I got on that methadone withdrawals is way worse than heroin withdrawals. You know, so now it's like you just giving me another one to another one, and even Suboxone, that's not as bad as methadone, but it's still it's still a narcotic. Right. You know, so it's like never ending. You know what I mean?
Okay, so the birth of your son, he goes to prison. What is that like for you now that you're a mother? Like, how or has your perception of the world changed, and are you thinking about getting clean at this time?
Absolutely not, because he came out looking just like his dad, and he needed to be taken care of. And I needed to take care of him. And yeah, I stopped. I mean, don't get me wrong, I wasn't, you know, back then back then at that time, you know, I used marijuana, again, too smart for my own good, because I thought I was this whole weed connoisseur and I could put different strains together to help me. I've been doing that all my life. Right. You know, different herbs, right, different things, trying to do this myself. But right, I needed something. Like I said, he looked just like his father. He, beautiful baby. But thank God I had my mom to really give him affection. He imprinted on my mom. Not so much me, even though I was pretty much in the house. You know, he imprinted on my mom. That was like in his eyes who could console him. Right. You know, that's who consistently had consistency with her. But with me, it was in a car seat, going here, going there, you know, in different houses. At least I had the wherewithal to know he ain't need to be around all that. So now he in an empty room, you know what I'm saying, with the door closed while I'm doing my thing. So it's just all of that. You know, it was a lot.
Okay, so now that you have your son and your mom's just helping you raise your son, like, as he gets older and you mature, like, how does the dynamic of your relationship change? Like, do y'all begin to grow closer? And I mean, like, in early, like, maybe like teen years or something like that.
Well, I'm going to take you back a little bit before the teen, because when he was, it was 2004, I think he was 5, because I remember he had just went to kindergarten, right? And he was so excited because he was a daycare baby, and he was so excited and ready for kindergarten. And we signed him up, and he went the first day, and he really, really liked it, right? And then a lot of stuff happened in my life. A lot of people died that year. Just neighborhood victims of close people, right? I literally, at that point, I was angry with God. And as you know, you take God out your life, you introduce the devil. And I didn't know that in prison they found out about stuff like as soon as we found out about it on the street. So I didn't know that. But you know, he got the pimp mentality. So of course he seen that I was in distress. And he started writing me letters. And then that connection came back, right? And he convinced me to move to, he convinced me to take my son and move to, I won't disclose the location, but it was a very rural location, predominantly white. And we couldn't tell nobody where we were. Now, mind you, my son imprinted on my mom. My mom literally was traumatized herself, but loved on my son, adored him. And one day I packed up my car and I told her we was leaving. And I'll never forget. I would never forget the look on her face. And I told her, she said, where you going? I said, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not telling you where I'm going. You know, and I just left in my 1993 Grand Dam with like 4 different colors on it, you know what I'm saying? And I hit the road. First stop Jackson, because I was told that I had to come to a visit first to get my instructions. See, I didn't know exactly where I was going. It's like you come here, get your instructions, and then you go, because he, you know, so that was that initial visit was very interesting, because where I started to develop those feelings again, like, okay, maybe I could do this, whatever. He showed that evil side. I'll never forget his face and the look in his eyes, you know, and I knew that I had messed up. but it was no turning back. You know what I'm saying? Because I had messed up with my mom. Because my mom already told me, you know what I'm saying? She straight got east side. She more east side than where we at now. You know, and she was like, don't come back across 8 Mile. And that was just period dot. You know, and she meant it, and my brother meant it. You know, I'm from a family full of boys and men. You know what I'm saying? And they don't put their hands on women, but you know, I crossed a lot of lines. I crossed a lot of lines. So I kept going, and my son, so we get there, and my son get enrolled in school and everything, and he didn't understand. But you asked about the bond. That's when we bonded. We had a trauma bond. All he knew instinctively was that he had to protect me. It should have been the other way around, but it wasn't. So he started going to school, and he had started getting bullying because he was like the only little black boy. You know, they made fun of him with that lice check day. I'll never forget the day that they checked everybody for lice, and they just skipped over him. You know, he like, I want to be checked for lice like everybody else. Like, it was just crazy. Little cultural differences that really made him like ostracized. You know what I'm saying? But he kept doing, and he excelled. When I tell you, that boy, no matter what, he always maintained straight A's, you know. And I'll never forget, he got on the bus one day, and they told him like one of the boys was like, little black boys go to the back of the bus, right? So, hey, he went to the back of the bus, you know what I'm saying? Because he ain't dumb. He was outnumbered. But when he got home, man, he was so heated. And we had Rottweilers back there, too. I remember Buddy came to meet him. Buddy, huge, massive German Rod. He came to meet him at the edge, and, like, he already knew, like, he could already tell, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's up? And Malik asked me, you know, like what I'm gonna do, and right then I was in survival mode, and I just told him, I'm like, next time you go on the bus, you gonna have to pick the biggest one and just beat his ass, you know, deal with him or whatever. And that's what he did. That's why I ended up being his best friend. I remember he huge, massive country boy, and I started getting cool with his parents, you know, because of course somebody that you was always gonna find the other people that you
Right.
So once us parents made that connection, and they had a beautiful house off the water, shoot, we used to be over there all the time. I remember he used to tell me like, that's my boy, man, nobody mess with him. I'm like, yeah, you know, it was crazy. But so yeah, we trauma bonded, and we learned how to survive together.
Okay, so being that you pack up, you leave your mom's house, and you head to an undisclosed location that your child father wanted you to go to, how long did y'all stay up there, and then what transpired that made you leave that place?
And we stayed there about, hold on, I gotta do timelines because so we stayed on a farm all together about 3 years. And then Malik, well, whatever. I didn't mean to say his name, but anyway, he came to me and he was like, you know, my dad's gonna kill us. And he was just so at peace with it. And then, you know, at school he was giving away stuff and everything. It was almost like subconsciously he was preparing for death, right? And he was about almost 8 years old at this time, and that was when I guess what you call mother instinct kicked in. And I'm just like, I can't do this, you know. At the time I did get a job locally. I actually advanced real quick in that job because that's what I do, you know. I've never been without a job. Like, I always been able to maintain. And they had a new line opening, and I just started busting my butt, and I ended up getting a line operator position that I knew was going to allow me to move out, you know, do my own thing. So I went, I left. I went to work one day, and I was already conditioned. The whole time I was working there, I was conditioned to he would tell me, just do your job, don't talk to nobody, don't look nobody in their eye, and that's what I did. I'll never forget, I was smoking a cigarette at the smoker's table, right? And this lady came up to me, she was like, are you racist? I was like, mind you, I'm in a predominantly white area. I'm like, what? She's like, why you never talk to us? What's wrong with you? but you don't like us. And God just put it in me. I just started crying and I laid out everything that was going on. And her eyes got big. She was like, you and your son coming to stay with me. And we left. Yep, and and that's just how God worked. That's, you know, right, what I'm saying? And we left and we went and stayed with her, but it was things with that, you know, people kept, I'm sure he was having people, you know, sent to her house. It was causing trouble for her, and Malik was kind of worried, you know what I'm saying? So we initially moved on, and long story short, I met my ex-husband, right? Who was you know, the my last name Van Ostad, the Van Ostads in that town was known, right? Like, not bullies, I guess you probably could say bullies, but they, you know, they was
about that life.
They was about that life. So of course, me being in survival mode, right? Survival of the fittest. I want the fittest, right? So you know, we got together, and it just made sense at the time. I needed to change my last name. I needed to reinvent myself, right? And he had a need. He had things that he needed that I can provide, you know, so it was a mutual reciprocation, right? And of course, the way life works, when you with somebody like that, of course you go get close. Of course you go develop a bond, you know, whether it's real or not, it's another trauma bond, right? My life is full of trauma bonds. And with that, I ended up getting pregnant, you know, and having my baby girl. And that was not planned, you know, but it was, first of all, I never thought in a life that I would have a girl, ever, right? I was like, because I was the first girl born in 21 years in my family. So when they told me I was having a girl, it was a no-brainer, right? You know. Man,
that was the one that's supposed to slow you down.
Yeah, just they ain't tell me that she was gonna be just like me though. You know what I'm saying? Even though God did make her a Capricorn just like me, I'm like, okay, let me know something. You know, my mama always told me payback was a. But so yeah, so I got pregnant for her, and you know, just. I think she was about 6 months when we moved back to Detroit, and it was just like, this ain't what it is, you know. Anybody that know me know. I mean, I ain't gonna claim that I'm 7 Mile, right? But I'm not rural like that, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. When I was on the farm, every morning at 4 o'clock, I gotta clean up after 5 horses. I'm scared of birds, having to go in the chicken coop, man, because you got to, you know. So it just, I mean, it was a good experience under traumatic, you know, circumstances or whatever. So yeah, so we moved back to Detroit, and and I didn't use while I was pregnant with her. I did not want a child that was addicted to anything. I've been in those wards where children have alcohol fetal syndrome and born with methadone or heroin. That if you ever been there and them cries and stuff, I didn't want to do that, you know. So, but I started back once I got to Detroit and everything, and had her, the behavior started again.
And so, you say your ex-husband. So her father, you married her father. Okay. Yeah. And how long was y'all married for? And what was the extent of your husband at the time relationship like with your son? How old was your son?
Dang. He asking some questions. So my son, at this point, because he was 9 when my daughter was born, right?
Okay.
And look, I know he, like, I don't wanna talk bad. He a good brother. He a cool guy, and like, you know, his season for being in my life was appreciated. You know what I'm saying? But to tell you the truth, like, he's a white male with this young black boy that's already went through trauma. So initially when my son was still that boy, yeah, it was good. But as my son started getting older, you know, between his family and stuff, it was just different. My son always didn't really feel like, he was glad and appreciative as long as his sister was treated good. And they did. They treated her beautifully. You know, her grandma, her cousins and everything, they truly do love her. You know, they just have issues because there's still a racial barrier. right?
Right.
Like my daughter, she called me one time. She was up there. She like, man, she like, it's a lot of magnifiers. She like, Then she was like, I think somebody even had like Trump on his shoes. Like we don't even put Obama on our shoes. Like they for real up here. She like, I'm not comfortable. But her dad ain't gonna let nothing happen to her. You know what I'm saying? And she has experienced certain things out there, but he take care of it. He handle it like, so, but with my son, yeah, it started getting strained. Plus you gotta understand, my son is an intellectual like my dad. As my son got older, he had a lot of knowledge. He had a lot of book smart and street smart, so he moved a certain way. And he has low tolerance for people that don't move a certain way.
Right.
So as he started getting older, like high school, it was like, okay, my sister's old enough to start going up there by herself. He kind of started falling back because he would only go up there to visit with him just because his sister was young. He wanted to make sure that she was being treated okay. Once he saw the dynamic and that she was good, he fell back from going up there.
That's dope. So
that's right.
Everything, your son like seemed like he has a warrior spirit.
Right, for sure. He the family protection.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he the family protection. Okay, so now your daughter born, now you got her, you didn't use during the time. So how long until you started using again after you had her?
I really can't pinpoint. I mean, I never really stopped smoking weed. So that's always been a constant, right? And then I don't know, I would dibble and dabble here and there because once you start back, it's just like parties, right? It's just like parties and stuff. But it didn't develop back into the full blown. Probably, I'm trying to get a timeline. Probably when she was in elementary school, and I just was hanging with a certain crowd or whatever, and it was a crowd of misery. That's all it was. A bunch of women that hated their baby daddies, hated men, hated the system, and it was just, that's who I hung with, so that's what we did. We did what misery do. Right. And mind you though, in between all this, I had amazing jobs. Like I was a program manager at a federal halfway house. I had a lot of good jobs. And that was at the point when I got that job though, that federal halfway house. I don't know why I thought that was a good idea. Right? Man, it's almost like I'll never forget when I watched New Jack City. I was in treatment. I watched New Jack City, and when it came to the part where they was passing out the pipes, I was like, "Yeah, that's a good idea." You start your mind. What you think makes sense, it don't make sense, but it makes sense to you at the time. Right. And it made sense for me to work in a federal halfway house because they had just changed the crack law. They just changed the crack law, so they was about to flood all the old school ones that never missed a beat because they peoples kept them cool, so they was just coming back to do their time in the halfway house to go back to business, right? So man, so yeah, that was it was like, let's just say, I'm gonna say this because I ain't gonna get into just the same equivalent of how DoorDash is convenient for food. We just gonna leave it at that. You know what I mean? I never had to leave the house, never had to leave my office, right? And that was at the point when man, it became, I always tell people like, I became like street level. That was at the point that I became street level. Because it made, I stopped, it was being an inconvenience having to keep leaving and smoking. That was an inconvenience. To keep leaving my so good salary paying job, but I had to keep leaving because I can't smoke that type of drugs in the office, right? And eventually I met with the local dope man who, was, again, my boyfriend, right? Because they all become my boyfriends, always in that survival mode. And around that time, I was just like, F it. I got a ready supply here, so I'm good. And I quit the job. That was when my mom was pretty much like, you can get out. Yeah. Leave your kids here. I tried to protest. She said, if you protest this and you try to take your kids, I'd rather see them in the system than seeing you drag out. So I left my kids there and I moved in with him.
So around that time, like, what was the extent of you and your daughter relationship? Because I imagine she was, you say, what, about 7 or 8 years old? so she kind of got a good reality of like what the world is, somewhat. So what was your relationship like once you had to take the kids with your mom and you went on to be with your boyfriend?
Um, it was hard. Not so much for my son. He was old enough to ride his bike over there, but her. And then my mom would drop her off sometimes, and it was a trap house, so it probably wasn't the most stable environment for her to be in. I always made sure she was protected or whatever, but it was hard because like she wanted to see me, and and it's hard because like her calling me like she want to see me and my mom about to drop her off, but I'm sick. I gotta get straight, like now I gotta tell my mom because she want to see me like I need some money, and she like I'm not giving you no money to use. I'm like I'm sick, so now knowing that my people knowing that they giving me money and what it's for, what I'm saying, it became hard. It became hard.
So what led to you your transition? At what point after that did you like try to seek help to get clean?
Um, I had my sixth overdose,
Mm.
and by the grace of God, the Narcan did as promised, and it revived me, ended me up in a hospital, um, and I just remember like I gotta do something different, I gotta do something different, and I called the DWIA hotline number, which is a number that I use every single day for my participants. That is how you get into state-sponsored treatment when you got Medicaid. And I called, and they were like, well, we don't have any bed spaces for where I wanted to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
They were like, well, QBH, y'all may not know, and some of y'all subscribers may not know, QBH is like the worst. It's the worst in Detroit. Like,
What is it?
Quality Behavioral Health,
Okay.
Drug and Alcohol Treatment Center. Let me tell you something.
QBH, okay.
Look, you go there, the only way you getting clean there is if you really want to be clean. That's just a period now, right?
Care.
But not that they don't care. It's the way it's set up. It's almost set up like prison. Like I had to fight against it because they kept trying to put me in the area. I noticed when I got in there, they got an area for the Italians, for the Asians, for the black, right? And they trying to put me with the black girls. I knew them from the streets. You ain't about to put me. And then the black girls was all the way like way away from the monitor station. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You ever been able to look in somebody's eyes and see their plot?
Yeah.
I'm like, it's a no. So I started bunking with this Italian. I was like, because I befriended her. I'm like, please tell them you want me in here, And she did. So that's kind of what like made it a little easier, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I went there and I learned some lessons. They put me on Suboxone, but some seeds were planted there, right? But all I could think of, all my mind was on was him.
Real quick, what is Suboxone?
Suboxone is so like methadone helps you to wean off heroin.
Okay.
That's what Suboxone is. It's just not as potent as methadone.
Okay.
Yep. So people they use that too, and they use Suboxone for some people that have like back pains and stuff, like the fentanyl patch. So Suboxone is not used just for like drugs,
okay.
Or illegal substances.
Okay.
So yep, it's just like methadone, just not as potent.
Okay. And so you say now you started thinking of him, right?
Yeah, because we trauma. That's what happened when you trauma bond with people. And that's why when people on the outside look at it, be like, well, just leave or just, they don't understand that. Yes, I know he's no good. But I've developed, again, remember, I'm that empath.
Right.
I developed such a strong connection because when I tell you I won't go into detail, but he had pain, relevant pain. You know what I'm saying? And I felt it. So we bonded over that. And I was so hyper focused on that. And I'll never forget, they had family day. And my mom brought my daughter up there. And I seen my daughter, but somebody had got caught using or got something slipped to them from their family. Right then and there, they shut down visits. And I had a whole nervous breakdown because like I hadn't seen my daughter in so long, And I was punished for having that breakdown. They said that I was too focused on the wrong thing. and I nutted up. And I said, then I'm leaving, right? Just to let y'all know, really not a smart thing to leave a clinic that's giving you Suboxone. Because again, I left and I didn't dose. So when I left, I'm on the boulevard, so I already knew where I was going. You know what I'm saying? Because they had my money that I had when I came in there, so they got to give you all your belongings. They gave me my phone fully charged, my money. I wasn't thinking about that Suboxone because I already had in my mind only one problem. Since I left the streets for that little time, the quality changed. So even though I did a little something, it wasn't enough. I got sick as hell. So now I made my way back to his house and business as usual, and I won't go into detail stuff like that because that's certain things that I haven't shared and my daughter is here. But long story short, I was left for dead in Hamtramck, and I was sent to a hospital, receiving, who knows me very well, and it was, pretty much said, like, you need to do something different. They was tired of seeing me. I've had this, like I said, I made all the way up to 6 overdoses. Like, and for those that don't understand, when you overdose, you die. Right? So it's like not to be taken lightly, but it was just like another day. You know what I'm saying? So, through all of that time, I was little semi-gators on. You see, I say semi. George, don't kill me. But he was cool and he was talking my language, right? So he was the one that coordinated my care, and I say coordinated my care. He made sure I went to where I needed to go to, and that I followed through, right? And over the course of time working with him, it came out about the trauma. He was the first one that told me. He said, drugs and alcohol ain't your problem. I'm like, yes, it is. He said, no, it ain't. He said, it's what you putting on the problem. He said, that's why my groups, because I used to wonder why his groups. I'm like, we ain't talking about drugs and alcohol. He said, you know about drugs and alcohol, right? He said, well, we need to talk about. That's not your problem. He said, what you need to talk about, you unwilling to talk about. And I was in a room full of women and men. I don't know them. He would always ask me, like, you got anything you want to share? I'm like, no, I don't know them. I don't want them in my business. So I did that for a while, until one day, like, he bypassed HIPAA. Y'all know HIPAA laws? He bypassed that because one day we was in group. He was like, oh, you don't have nothing to say? I said, no. He said, why don't you talk about that first night you was put out? How many men raped you? And I was pissed. I'm like, what? And he looked, and I'm, I was back then. I was so ratchet, like I was doing the neck thing. He said, go ahead and throw your little temper tantrum. You look like you about to seize out. He said, I'm gonna call the ambulance. They gonna take you to the hospital, make you better, bring you back, and I'm gonna ask you the same question because you need to work through this shit. And I was like, okay. That was the first time that I cried. Like I felt permission to cry. Right, I wasn't on the streets. I didn't have to put on my, as my mama called it, my 7-mile face. You know what I'm saying? He had the men leave the room and had the women embrace me, and that was literally the start of my healing journey.
That's dope.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that is.
Deep.
So, walk us through the first couple years of recovery, and like, how was it trying to mend a relationship? Mainly, let's start with your mother first because she done been through everything with you the whole way.
Whew.
Did they believe you? Like,
Man,
did it take them a while to let their guard down?
Mom's like, she's supportive, right? Like, okay, all right, you got 30 days. Okay, I'll see your key tag. But you could see her looking out the corner of her eye. You know what I'm saying? Right. That went on for a while. Especially when so now I got a year clean, And I was working at a treatment center. I thought I had a ride, right? Because I'm working at a treatment center like I'm doing it. People listening to me, I'm helping people. And I stopped going to my NA meetings. I stopped talking to my sponsor. I stopped doing the work that it took me to get to that year. So mind you, I was still talking to him, even though my mom and everybody was like, we don't want you talking to him, but you already know. I'm still sticking and talking to him. And one day I went over there. I had a car again by that time, and I went over there, and he had to go pick up some money, and he came back. And when he came back, he had that look in his eyes. And I'm like, he was supposed to be clean. Like, the idea was, okay, I'm clean. Like, you need to get clean. Because he was so arrogant. He was a dealer. He like, I can do this whenever I want. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, if you love me, then be clean, whatever. But, so he was saying he was clean. But when he came back, he just had that look in his eyes. And I'm like, did you just go get one? And I'll never forget, like, he nodded. And then he dropped his Everfresh bottle and like started gurgling, and he overdosed and died right on my lap. And now let's remember, like, even though it's traumatic, like, it's still a trap house. I don't know where stuff hid. And I'm just saying where my mind was at the time. I mean, yeah, I knew enough to know he was gone. But like, I was gone, I left too. And after a couple of days, because in my mind too, I think how I rationalized it was, I was like, oh, he just sleep. You know what I'm saying? Like, he gonna call it a couple of days, and I'm gonna cuss him out, whatever. But he never called. So the human side of me kicked in. It was like, because he got kids and grandkids and stuff, and I had him do a welfare check. I had the police do a welfare check, and they found them where I left them. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, that was that right there. So now I got this team in place that I can go to, but I had been disconnected for a while, right? So I didn't feel comfortable going to my NA people or even George. So I called Team Wellness, and my therapist there. I'm like, man, I wanna come in and see you. And I'll never forget, she was like, okay, you could come in, but you doing a walk-in, so it's gonna be about like 45 minutes to an hour before I could see you. And I remember in my mind, I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna stop and get a pack real quick to just kind of ease my nerves. You know what I'm saying? And that turned into the 7th and final overdose. As well as, I don't remember. Unfortunately, she probably remember how I looked worse then, because all I know is they left my car. So, sometimes we got to take a look at what we're grateful for. They left my car, they left my keys. So I jumped in the car and drove home, and my daughter answered the door and just started screaming. I didn't realize how I looked, and just started screaming, and she ran and hid in the basement. And, my mom was like, nah, get the F out. My brother came over, drugged me down the stairs. I think I still got the marks. It's cool, though. It's cool, you know what I'm saying? But everybody was through, he threw me in his truck, literally took me over to my cousin's house, and then here come old George. George came. And what I love about George, he never judged me. He never was upset with me. He took me to his, him and his wife at the time. He let me stay there because my mom was like, you can't come back here. And I'll never forget, I was just waiting on him to fuss at me, and I was feeling so sick. And he told me, he like, sit up, and he looked me in my eyes. He said, you ready to do something different? And I said, yeah, and that's something different. He called my sponsor, had her come sit with me. E.L. was crazy, and she came to sit with me and console me while she was in her end-stage cancer treatment. Like, how selfish have I been all my life? You know what I'm saying? So it's like a lot of realizations. Then I told him, because you know me, I'm always going to come up with the plan, because I missed work at the treatment center, right? You got to have a year clean to work at the treatment center. So I told George, I'm like, look, I'm going to go there because I'm beat up. So I'm just going to tell them I got jumped. And that's why I ain't come to work. That's a valid, he looked at me, he said, I'm going to take you up there. He said, and if you leave out of there with your job, I'm going to go in and tell them myself, because you got to start getting honest. So I went in and told my supervisor, and she said, we have to let you go. Let me tell you what's amazing. It's just, probably like a couple hours later, the CEO of the treatment center, who I'm still cool with, because he in a fellowship, he got like 30 plus years clean. He called me, he said, I really like you. He said, you get your year and I guarantee you'll have a job back. Like almost like you never left. He said, you don't have to reapply or nothing, we still keeping your file open. And I started working my program. I started going to my meetings. I started going to my support groups. I started doing the work, and people noticed stuff. My year would have been November 6th. He called me the end of July and said, we got a new contract with the prisons. We about to have girls coming. You know, it's a diversion program. Instead of doing prison, they have to do like a longer time of treatment. He said, can you come? So he let me come back even though I hadn't had a year, you know, and yeah, that was amazing, right?
He's seen it in you. He knows He's seen it in you.
Yeah.
Okay, so fast forward to now. How long have you been living a sober life?
Oh man, it'll be 8 years November 6th.
Congratulations.
Yep. As we say, no slips, no dips, no weekend trips. You know,
Right.
just. But yeah, it's you know, because it's good. It feels good, right? It feels good, and in between, man, life has happened.
Right.
Like, let me not sit here and act like life just been peaches and cream, because I play like it's work.
Right.
You know, I done had heartbreaks. I done had betrayals from close friends. You know, loss of loved ones, stuff like that. My father going through his different things, he going through it. Like I said, I'm a daddy's girl, you know. So yeah, but it's amazing to see that I can get through each thing sober and feel those emotions, you know.
So what is love life been since sobriety? Being at, you know, when you was coming into puberty, you was trying to find love from younger guys, and then you get to your adult age, and you know you got trap house with your boyfriend. Now, what is love like with the sober living?
I want him to ask questions. You know what I'm saying? Cause but I'm just being silly because those is good questions. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, I'm Facebook. It's complicated. You know, like I gotta be honest. It's complicated, but.
No, I was digesting your story because it's like it's familiar to like life. I'm
But as far as love goes, though, you know what though? One thing I can say through all the trials and tribulations, I've been shown my ability to love. And that's an amazing thing, because whether they're there or not, just to know that I have the ability to love on such a deep level without expecting any reciprocation, right? That just lets me know that I'm on the right track.
That's right.
And you know, and what's meant for me, I'll never miss. So once I settled into that understanding and knowing, I just moved through life with a certain level of peace.
Right.
So I heard a few times say that you was healed. So since you've been sober, have you made amends with your son's father? And what's the extent of your relationship now, if y'all had one?
I have forgiven.
Okay.
Will I make a physical amends? No.
Okay.
That makes no sense to
You
me.
just let it go.
Right?
Okay.
Just let it go.
Just let it go.
You know, I'm not going to keep going to the scene of the crime.
Okay, true.
Right? But, however, it was told to me because my son, like, now he's a grown man, and when I tell you, he looks just like him. Right? But what I had to do was, because they told me, if you want to learn to love your son, you have to forgive his father. Right? True forgiveness. And the only way to forgiveness sometimes is understanding, right? So just understanding a little bit of his father's life, but also understanding that some of the amazing qualities that my son have, he got from his father and not me. So I have to have respect for that, right? Because if nothing else, we created an amazing individual who's doing amazing things now. You know, he's married. He's a good husband. He's a good businessman. He's a good family. He takes care of business. Right now, and he also does not have that impulsive gene, that disease of it. He got that from his father because his father never used to in his life. You know, that's why I was so surprised. Like, he did that sober. He did everything he did sober, right?
Right.
But
he's been on the journey with you, though. I'm pretty sure his recollection of what he's seen, look at things, because I'm going to keep it honest. My mother was a drug addict.
Okay.
My mother was stumped down drug addict. My daddy overdosed me. So I understand. So by me listening to your story, I'm just like, understanding like the process of what some other folks go through, and this is the survivor of it. So I'm looking at the finished product.
And you gotta excuse me, this is the
healer
in me, but I want to put you and my son together. I would like for you to meet my son, because that's amazing. That's and that is the equivalent of what getting support means,
Sure.
So that's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
that's why I'm absorbing the story.
Yes.
Like, sitting back more.
Yeah, but now me and my son have an amazing relationship, like all of us do.
Yeah.
We one big family. We are family, but you know what I'm saying. We're officially like we operate as a family unit. We look out for each other, and I adore him and his wife, and even his choices. He just, he's the responsible one. Let's make that clear, right? I'm growing, but he was born responsible. He had to be. That's why I say God don't make mistakes. He knew exactly what I needed. He like, let me go ahead and send him in there. But yeah, we have an amazing relationship. We actually have a mother and son insurance company, Prolific Life and Wealth. Yes.
That's amazing.
That's a blessing. That's everything. Your whole life has like been a journey for a reason. I'm just been
definitely.
So
it makes sense. Do it make sense now that you look back at it though?
Oh yeah.
Now that you look.
Oh yeah. Well, because I've grown into my purpose.
Right.
And I know my purpose now. And the thing is, I could never have fulfilled my purpose had I not experienced what I went through. It's no way I could sit in some of the intakes that I do when people tell me some of the stuff that happened to them by their own parents. Like, it's no way I could keep that face and show them compassion and help them had I not experienced what I experienced. It would hurt me too bad, right? So definitely, yeah, I'm appreciative of my life and the outcome. That's why when I tell my story, even though I get emotional, I always want to make sure people understand I'm telling it from a place of healing, right?
That's right. I like that.
So at this point in time in your life, what inspires you?
Everything. Life. God, like just everything. I get inspired when I wake up and I just like I hear birds outside my window, or I'm sorry, y'all, my daughter's silly, but it is like even with her, like she started college early and stuff, and my son that just keep creating, they just life. I get inspired. I'm excited to learn new things. I'm excited to go. I call them my adventures, and when I say adventures, I don't even have to go outside of Michigan. You know what I'm saying? Like, so life inspires me.
And before this, I heard you say something about purpose. Like, at what age did you discover your purpose?
When I was twirling that ribbon with that tutu, but they stifled my life, they dim my light. That's when. But then I forgot. That's why I always tell people, remember who you are.
Sure, indeed.
Remember who you are, okay? See, when we are, I'm going to say of my belief, when we are born, right, we are closest to source. We are closest to source, right? But as society hits us and our parents and everything, we get away from it. We get away from it, right? And we go through life lessons. That's at the point when you sit down, you start praying, you start meditating, and you really start learning and remembering who you are, right? And once you realize who you are, it's no going back. Now, expectations have risen for you. You can't do those old things you were doing. You can't behave in that same old manner. You know what I mean? And if you do choose to ignore,
karma come back fast.
Yeah, if you choose to ignore what God is trying to show you, and you wonder why you keep navigating through life as little things keep happening. You never quite reaching your highest good,
So I see the ankh on your neck. What does the ankh and what does the other piece represent?
So this is all about life. I told y'all life inspires me. That's what the ankh is about for me. It's all about life. It's a symbolism for life, right? The life that 7 times I almost didn't have, that I didn't appreciate, right? And this is my amethyst, y'all. Let me tell you, okay? Only very, 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 very few people touch this, right? And I'm a hugger. I'm a nice person, but when I see somebody coming like this, it's like, oh, I don't know where your energy is, you know. And it's just because I do believe in energies, you know. I believe in God, I absolutely do. You know, it's just my beliefs might be a little different than others, but that's okay. But I know what works for me, and I know what I'm in tune with. And I'm gonna tell you, I was labeled borderline personality disorder, bipolar. I had almost every diagnosis, again with the labels. It was an alternative therapist that introduced me to crystals, in particular the amethyst, because they had me on so much medication I really couldn't function, right, properly. I wasn't, again, my light was dim, again, right? So when I went to her, it was like, okay, no more medication. She said, when you have those extreme highs, see, when I have my extreme highs, I go cleaning. I'm gonna make a couple businesses together, make a couple LLCs, like I'm on. But then when it gets low, it's like exhausting. So she told me when I have my high highs to hold on to my amethyst and put some of that energy in, right? And then when I reach those times where it's the low lows, hold on to it and absorb some of that energy. Now, most people will say that's a placebo, that it's all in your mind. And I tell them that very well may be, so was the cocaine, right? But I believed in it anyway, so I believe in this.
That's
you
right.
know?
It's energy.
Right.
Anything
It's
you're putting your energy into something that makes sense.
Absolutely.
It do make sense though.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I believe in it. There's certain people that may have to might have to like go
And
through
it's
the
okay.
process of life and
sure.
understand it a little deeper, but you know,
And it's okay.
I understand it.
It's okay. You know, I tell people, you know, I want people to understand, please, if you have any questions to ask me or anything about my beliefs, I am an open book. Please ask. Don't just assume.
That's
right? You know, because I've been called some of everything. It's like,
And whatever
okay.
you call me whatever.
Call me whatever, but
but
get an understanding first before you start making judgments, you know?
I mean, that's what they supposed to do, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because when you're walking in your truth, like you just came in and said,
Yeah.
you're the light.
Absolutely.
You're the shining light. So the light shine in darkness, and so a dark part around darkness, people gonna talk.
Yes.
Until you wake up. You feel me?
Yes.
So that's what it is.
Yeah, so before we end the segment, if you could give any advice to somebody who's been through the things that you've been through and they don't know how to get out of it, like what advice would you give them and what type of help?
Man. All I'm gonna say is reach out to somebody. If you don't get what you need from that person, reach out to somebody else. Take your life into your own hands. There is no magic pill. There is no magic therapist. There is no magic person, place, or thing. The magic is within. The search needs to be, you need to search within to find the answers that you need, you know. And one thing I could explain as far as my process that works for me, I didn't have religion. And I went to NA. NA is a spiritual program. And through NA, I reconnected with God. And through reconnecting with God, it made the NA material make more sense. And when the material started making more sense, I started to explore different other avenues. And as I did that, I started slowly finding everything that I needed, piecing it together like a puzzle until my puzzle was complete. My puzzle will never be complete, but my puzzle, at least I can see the picture on it now, though.
Okay. For the viewers, would anybody like to ask any questions before we part?
You got any social medias or anything that you got? That you're on?
So,
any,
what I will
platforms?
do, I will leave my card. You know, so I work for Class Agency, Change Your Lives and Stay Sober. I am the lead recovery coach there. We have a 24/7 wellness line that will get sifted straight to me, Erica. If you need any help, he'll post. You know, he can, if he chooses to, he can post the information. You can call me 24/7. I will work with you to help you in whatever way I can, no matter what it is. Domestic violence, whatever, you know, even if it's just me getting you to a safe space. So, yeah, so that's what I'm really not, and I'm behind. I'm really not doing social media. I have to work on my manager.
Anything, the only thing we can use to get in contact with you if anybody that's watching it.
Yep, so I'll give my card and he can post that, and that's how everybody can reach me. Yes.
Okay. Well, y'all, time to wrap up the segment of Inspired Purpose Podcast. Miss Erica, we appreciate you coming through. We enjoyed it.
Yes, I appreciate y'all having me. I enjoyed this. I did.
Like to thank all the viewers for coming through, y'all.
Out here, like, listen, that was medicine for the day. That's what you call medicine. People be the medicine out here. That's just what I'm looking at, like, because you don't really need to take the drugs and stuff like that.
Okay.
Once you understand life and get to that part where you at right now, people, they need to hear this and feel this.
All right, Ty said, great interview, helpful advice. Thank you for sharing with us. Appreciate it, Ty.
For coming up on the Twitch with us, though. Let me see. Let me take this off.
All right, y'all. Appreciate y'all. Peace out.